Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And if you remember my daily financial news, I think it was on Sunday, we talked about an interesting article about millionaires not wanting to leave all or a lot of their money to their kids for fear that they might waste it or make bad decisions. And you know what? We talk to an awesome estate attorney every Monday. So we're going to talk to him about that. So how you doing, Rylas?
I'm doing great, Michael. Happy to be here.
Hey, man, this topic is right in your wheelhouse. Why don't you remind folks what you do for a living?
So I'm an estate planning attorney. I practice in Arizona and California. So I help people set up their plans, their trust, last will and testaments, and then I help people administer the plan or the lack thereof if they're going through probate or whatever it is.
Yeah. So this topic, again, without names, maybe just percentages. I'm guessing a lot of people that come to you, Rylas, probably conservatively speaking, average at least seven-figure net worth, right? These are typically people of means, I'm guessing.
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, so I see the whole population, I would say.
Awesome. Okay.
So I see all types of people. So yeah, not all of my clients are, seven, eight figures.
Okay.
Because probate starts to affect people like in Arizona and California pretty fast. So
That's true.
after just about 150 in equity.
Yeah, and that's pretty easy to get in California. If you bought your house, 10 years ago in most of California, I think you're sitting on that. So that's very interesting. So again, when people come to you and they're, not necessarily probate, but they're planning for the future, I got to imagine most people think about their kids. Like, what am I going to leave my kids? How much I'm going to leave their kids? Do I set stuff aside for grandkids? What are people thinking about?
Yeah, so I see the whole variety, obviously. So not all my clients are millionaires though, but I would
Sure.
say the ones that are, that have, seven, eight figure net worths where the child is going to be receiving a large amount of money,
Mhm.
they can kind of question, be worried about giving them too much.
Mhm.
But I also see too, I see a lot of these like little old ladies that they have very little
Mhm.
and they want to leave their kids an inheritance. You're kind of like the opposite end of the spectrum, I would say, where
Interesting.
they're skimping and saving because they feel like they want to leave something to their children.
That's interesting. So, on one hand, you have people that are purposefully living below their means and squirreling away what they can. So they have something to, what's it called? Bequeath, whatever it is, give to the next generation.
Yeah,
And then
that's the word when
it
you're giving
is.
through a will.
I got it right.
Yeah.
Where did that vocabulary word come
Yeah,
from?
when you're giving real estate through a will. It's one of those
Awesome.
old ones. But
There you go. That's funny. I have no idea where that came from. But anyways, I got one. And then you have people that of means that are like, yeah, it's interesting because I actually know some people who myself included, right, came from nothing, sacrifice, made some good moves, now at a spot. And some of the people in my position are like, they almost want their not that they want their kids to struggle. That's the wrong word, but they certainly don't want to give everything to them.
Yeah, I think what I would say is they don't want to take that away from them, right?
Yeah,
they don't want to take away that struggle, I think is how I would say, or just that feeling of I don't know.
Yeah, they want to definitely take care. They want to give anything for help with emergencies. Certainly, if your college is in your future, they want to take care of that. But yeah, I think Warren Buffett is often quoted as saying he wants to give enough to his kids where they can do anything, but they can't do nothing. I think I've got that quote right. I think that's a decent goal, but that's coming from a billionaire. So who knows what those numbers are. But yeah, if people aren't giving it to their kids, where's it going?
Yeah. So here's usually what I see is, now once they have grandchildren, once they have their kids set up,
okay,
so their kids have good jobs, they own homes, they own businesses, and they're set up. So a lot of times the conversation is, hey, my kids are already kind of set up.
Okay.
I'd like to give things maybe down to the grandkids.
Interesting.
Go further ahead.
Skip a generation, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where it's going to help them more in life, right? Where if they get it younger.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Versus if the kids are, near retirement age when mom and dad died or already into retirement.
Yeah, mom and dad are 70, the kids are 50s, and they're like, we're good, right? We've already, we're good. But our kids in the 20s, they need some help. That makes sense. Do you normally see people think, I don't know what the right technical term is, but kind of age limits, like we're going to give this to you. You can't touch it till you're 30. Maybe it's age limits and like you can't have it till you're 30 and employed or and married or whatever these kind of conditions. Is that a thing or am I?
Yeah, that's a thing. So
Okay.
I always do age limits. So
Okay.
every single trust will always have an age limit,
Okay.
which is the default. So meaning you get to pick what age the children receive it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I'll do something like 1/3 at age 20, half at 25, and then the balance at age 30.
Okay.
And while they're under those ages, it's at the trustee discretion. So whoever they choose as the trustee can decide if the kids can get more. And then you pick ages for an automatic distribution.
Got it.
So that way they're not getting a lump sum.
Mm-hmm.
At least they're getting it, divided up a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are there other categories besides or qualifiers other than age, like this is only for college or only for a home or things like that?
Yeah, so I always do the age trust, and
Yep.
then I'll tell people like beyond that, I can do just about anything.
Anything you want.
But for the price, right? And not just the price to create it, we got to be conscious of what it's going to take to administer that trust.
Oh, I see.
Since I also do the back end, I help people administer plans.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of horrible trusts written by attorneys, what I call just order takers, where they'll do everything a client says, even though it's not a good idea. So
you have a for example, because again, I can't rattle.
For example, if people want to leave like 1% to each of their grandkids, and they have 50 of them.
Oh, okay.
And or let's say like 20 or 30, like a
big number. Yeah.
And maybe a smaller estate, where the size of that gift, you're going to spend more in legal fees and administration fees.
Gotcha.
Contacting all of those people.
Yeah. Congratulations. You were given $2,000, but after all fees, here's $8.
Right. Yeah. So that's what.
Got it.
That's when I see a lot. Like it sounds great, sounds nice, but
gotcha.
It's going to be more to administer.
Okay.
So now, besides the age trust, the other category that I get into is what we call the dynasty trust.
Oh, tell us about that.
So this is also called, it's technically called a generation skipping trust is the tax term.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an estate tax tool. Now, the way this works is it stays in trust. So the child, they'll receive, instead of receiving their inheritance once they reach a certain age, we let them become the trustee of their trust once they reach a certain age.
Okay.
So it's going to stay in trust for them. And we'll have someone else be the trustee, usually till age 35 is what I do. So once the child turns 35, they can manage their share of the trust.
Got it. Okay.
So what that does is that gives the kids a little bit more protection. That protects them from a divorcing spouse, or if they get into a car accident and someone tries to sue them.
Gotcha.
If someone gets a judgment for anything, right? It's separate from them.
Interesting. Dynasty or generation skipping trust. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Gotcha. Very cool. All right.
So that's usually what I'm doing when for my millionaire clients. I'll start recommending that.
For sure. Okay.
And then we can design kind of different levels on there, right? And then sometimes, people want to draft something where it's just for college or things like that. That's what I would call an incentive trust.
Okay.
So sometimes I've done education only trust where we'll set aside some money. We'll say this money can be used for their grandkids to go to college. But the challenge with that is we have to define all the beneficiaries, right?
Right. Okay.
So that can be a challenge. Like how long do we leave that open for?
Yeah.
And so usually what I do, I say is like when so we leave the class open until the youngest child of the trustor reaches age 40 or 45 or whatever.
Yeah. You got to have an end, right?
Yeah. We got to have an end. We say at that point, either it can divide to all the grandkids or we we want to empty it out, right?
Yeah,
We
we
don't
do
want money
something
just
with it.
sitting
Yeah,
where no
makes
one
sense.
can use it.
Got it. Okay. All right. And then let's say you're a person of means and you have no kids, no grandkids, no kind of the branch broke, right? You're the last member for whatever reason. What do people do with their money? And that, do they create foundations or charities? What do they do?
Yeah. So foundations and charities, that's usually created, there's two types of people. I think most people are charitably inclined because of the tax incentives, right? Especially when you get to the millionaire clients, where they can get tax deductions and certain incentives that they give to charities and foundations. So if they're doing that during their lives, usually their foundation is a part of some purpose, or their
Okay.
foundation gives to other charities. So maybe they have a foundation they create during their life, or if they don't have a charity during their life, maybe there's they got to figure out where their stuff's going to go. So I had that conversation with a lot of people. They're like, I haven't really thought about it. So I'll ask them, are there charities that you're close to, or is there causes that you care about?
Yeah.
And that's what they should start thinking about.
Yeah. So let's play that out a little bit more, right? So people need to think about this early, right? So that basically you don't want to get to the end. What happens? You get to the end, your parents, grandparents are gone. You never had any kids or relationships below. If you don't do anything, that is a plan, but what happens to that? Like, where does that go? It's a state.
Eventually it's going to go to the state. It's going to look for like second cousins.
Oh,
basically.
really?
It's going to look for closest family members would be your intestate beneficiary. And then eventually the state, if they can't find any second cousins.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's say they don't. How long? I'm sure if there's a time limit, right? They look for a year or 2 years, or how long can they look?
It takes a while.
Okay.
And usually what happens is there's a beneficiary that comes forward to claim the estate. That's who calls me. Someone because hey, someone died.
I'm the second cousin that nobody knows about. Yeah.
Yeah. So
okay. All right. So let's go back to the person who wants to set up a charity or wants to give to a charity. So not a foundation, but they're like, hey, when I go, I want, I want to, have to go to this charity and have to go to this charity, but when they go, they own assets like housing, for example. What happens then? So they have a beneficiary. Maybe it's you. You are then inclined to, okay, sell the house, take the proceeds, and then you divide. So that's kind of the process, right? You don't give a physical asset to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have clients who've named me or my law firm as the trustee.
Okay.
Clients in that situation where they don't have kids. So their trust gives it all to charities.
Okay.
And then they name someone to be the trustee.
Right.
And then the trustee, charities, they don't want houses. They don't want
they don't. Like they want money.
Exactly.
Wow.
So if people are giving to charities, usually I recommend that they name someone else as the beneficiary, because a lot of charities, they see that as a job, right? They don't want to take over and administer a trust because they don't know what to do. Or
no, they just want it. Yeah. Don't make it hard on them, right? Okay. Yeah. So do you have a feeling? Because I forget what the number was. It was a shockingly high number. It was like 71% or some number of millionaires. So this is the millionaire clients really have hesitation about giving big numbers to their kids. Did that hit you like, hey, that's too high, or that might be right?
It did. What I thought though, it's not how much they want to give them, it's how they give it to their kids. Right? How much control. It's like, so when and how. So, I would say the ultra millionaires, right? When their child's going to be receiving more than maybe, $1 million or 2 million. That's when they start like, hey, that's
a lot of dough.
This might not be the best for my kids, is what they start thinking. Like, hey, like if they wake up the next day and their checking account is now 8 figures, that's
flush. Yeah.
And when they didn't go through the struggle and go through everything to create that.
It's like the lotto winners, right? I'm sure you've seen the statistics when a lotto winner, the mega winners, they get it. They're bankrupt in 5 or 10 years or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say a lot of people that they have that concern. And then once I explain the dynasty trust to them and how they can gradually give them control, that's what most people go for.
Awesome.
Now, instead of just age, sometimes I do those based upon time. I
Hmm.
have clients where their kids, their kids are 50 and 60.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we don't want to say
Yeah.
I have these other people, they hired me. I think this is funny. Maybe I talked about it, but the trust ended at age 80.
Okay.
And these 7-year-olds came to me and they're like, hey, like, do you think you can help us get into there sooner? It's like we're 70, we
Yeah.
don't want to wait these last 10 years. It's like, what's the difference between 70 to 80 is why I
Yeah.
think that's funny.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, what's the difference? Like once you pick an age, and our age, I guess, is 35, is kind of
Yeah.
what we picked as like the peak, whatever you want to call it, maturity,
Maturity. Yeah. That's
peak
funny. Same word. Yeah.
financial maturity. But sometimes I do it based upon time. I said, no
Mm.
matter how old the kids are, we'll
Mm.
have someone else be the trustee for 3 years or for 5 years.
Yeah. You buy an air gap or a way to kind of decompress, right? I like that.
Yeah, get them used to having that much in their bank account or controlling
That much.
that many assets,
Yeah. I like that. I
and
like that.
get them to see the protection of the trust. How if you leave it inside that trust, you're protected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that are in California, Arizona that need to have this conversation with you. How should they reach out to you? Is there videos on your YouTube channel they should check out? Let's tell them where they should go because a lot of people should be calling you.
Yeah, so I have a lot of videos I've done. So the best way is to go to my website, which is danalegalhelp.com. And then you can find links there to videos I've done on these topics. And then I have two YouTube channels.
Mhm.
So one is like a Dana and Associates one, it's where I post all the videos, but my website catalogs them better.
Oh, good.
And then I have another channel called Mott Legal.
Mhm.
So through Mott Legal is where I do stuff for the attorneys.
Got it.
And also, like, I have a lot of, I guess, real estate investor followers, like
Yeah.
through your channel. And I've done a lot with Pace Morby.
Mhm.
So I have a lot of people in his network. So they follow my Mott Legal YouTube channels.
Very cool. Yeah. So do yourself a favor, folks. If you are in California, Arizona, and you want to talk about, we're all going to die. Unfortunately, we all are going to die. There's no, that's something, unfortunately, we can all count on. If you want to understand about a dynasty skipping trust or no generation skipping trust or anything or with the states, you need to be reaching out to Rylas Dana. So thank you for your time today. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
You got it.